welcome back to my channel. My name is Scarlett. If you're new to this channel, hi, hello, welcome. We talk about training, fitness, science, productivity, lifestyle, anything around that. So if you're into this, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and let's get started. So the topic today is what kind of cardio training is better to promote fat loss. And if you are already from a fitness community, you probably have heard of HIIT, and that is high intensity interval training. And I looked into the research articles around HIIT training, and of course it says a lot of theories around that, and one of them is that HIIT training increases catecholamines like norepinephrine and epinephrine, and this drives the lipolysis. They've also found that HIIT training does increase the glucose and free fatty acids level in the blood, and this could also mean that it increases the oxidation from the fat more. And the other good thing about HIIT is that for patients who are hypoglycemic, like in patients who are having type 1 diabetes, then HIIT training could be better than cardio training because it doesn't decrease the glucose levels that much. Overall, HIIT also promotes power output for those athletes which require them to train in explosive bursts. It also depletes the ATP and glycogen. That is why, because it depletes ATP and phosphocreatine levels a lot, that you don't want to do HIIT before a strength workout. And maybe you haven't already heard of those stuff, but the stuff that we'll be talking about in this video is whether HIIT training is comparatively better than normal cardio. So stick around. I looked at least 3 different research papers comparing between the 2 types of training. The first one was by Keating et al., which found out that HIIT training is not much more effective than the low intensity exercise, and in fact HIIT interval is even less effective in reducing the trunk area fat loss than the LIS, and that was only just one study that was sticking out from other type of research results that I found. It was done on 38 obese individuals where they had to do the HIIT training for 30 to 45 seconds at 120 VO2 max, and the other one for the LIS was just at the 50 VO2 max. But one thing about this research is that they really didn't control their diet intervention, so it could also be the dietary interventions that could be affecting, or any other changes that the individuals were going through the research that could have affected the results. However, as I looked into the additional research, I did find evidence that HIIT training does promote fat loss, and one of the paper was by a study by Zhang et al., a 2017 study, and the other one was with a 2009 study by Nicholas et al. The other big study that I looked into was by Irving et al., and they compared the effects of combining high intensity with low intensity versus the low intensity. And in this study, they found out that in fact mixing up the higher intensity interval training with the continuous promotes greater fat loss, especially in the trunk area and also in the mid-thigh area. And the other interesting study was by Foster et al., where they compared HIIT training versus Tabata training versus the continuous training. For the HIIT training, they did 13 seconds with 30 seconds work for each, with also another 30 seconds rest. For the HIIT training, they did 8 sets for each circuit with 20 seconds for each rep, which sounds really demanding, I know. And for the low intensity training, they did normal light intensity for 20 minutes. And in this study, they found out that in fact there was no differences between the 3 types of training. The Tabata style was least enjoyable, and as well as followed by the HIIT training. So the only thing that they talked about in this protocol was that maybe HIIT is better in terms of being a better time efficient cardio training, but we also have to note that for this research, it wasn't carried out on athletes, so you have to know that people who have already done cardio training might differ on their perception of whether Tabata or HIIT training is harder than the cardio. All in all, from my research and looking at all those studies, it seems like HIIT is better in terms of being more time efficient and helping you to be more fit in terms of cardiovascular health. But however, there is controversial study behind it, so we can't really say that. But it seems like HIIT could be more efficient, and the only thing to note is that HIIT could be done like 2 or 3 days per week if you want to do it for fat loss, but I wouldn't recommend doing it more because it's really demanding on your body. It's also important to note that you shouldn't decrease your resistance training too much, especially in terms of strength and the hypertrophy style. And then the other thing is to sleep well, because sleep is so important for fat loss as well, and also hydrate your body enough. And you should just go in a calorie deficit just progressively and not so drastically, so you don't lose all your precious muscle gains too. Thank you so much for watching this video, and in the near future I am making an ebook on fat loss bikini guide, and this will be for free, so stick around and you'll see that soon. Thank you so much.